Comic fam, we got to get into it today. We're talking about the 5 biggest mistakes new comic book collectors typically make. And I'm sitting here with my homie, Gem Mint from Gem Mint Collectibles. How you doing, man?
What's up, Comic Tom? Hey, thank you for having me. What's up, Comic fam? I can't wait to jump into this video. Me and Tom stayed up all night coming up with ideas, and we're going to have a killer show for you guys, man.
We got a couple slabs that we're going to be giving away too, right?
So before we even get into this, guys, we have 2 slabs we're going to give away, a 9.8 and a 9.6. It's going to tie in to one of the themes, one of the topics of the episode. So just stay tuned to the end of the video so you can see what you got to do to enter that giveaway.
We make a lot of comic book themed content. Hit that subscribe button and let's get into it. First things first, when you're a new collector and you're hitting those back issue bins and you're going to start spending a little bit more money, well, grading, I think, is the first thing that people have to pay attention to. And the more they put it off, the worse it gets. What do you think about this?
I think you said the best. You cannot be afraid of grading. I know collectors that have been doing it for years that still don't have a grasp on it, but it's something that you got to learn. Personally, I just learned from submitting books coming back certain grades, comparing slab to slab, understanding why this one got a lower grade than that one. Tom, I think your history of grading was a little bit different.
That's right. I went to nearby LCSs, my local comic shops, would ask the person behind the counter that I was actually buying the comics from to explain what the difference is. I mean, some comic books, a 7.0 to an 8.0 is a lot of money, especially if you're brand new and you're looking at this stuff for the first time, possibly.
Some people are miles away from a shop. My way was a little bit costly. A lot of books that I wanted to be 9.8s came back 9.4s, and I kind of learned the hard way. But if you're getting into collecting comics and you're buying raw books, you're buying slabs, just start paying attention to corner dings. Start looking for color breaking creases. Start opening and flipping through the pages and just make sure there's no interior damage. Don't let it be overwhelming. It's something that the more you do, the better you're going to get at it.
That's right. And I recommend learning the grading scale. If you go to the description below, there's going to be a link there so you can start practicing, knowing what the terms are, know what a 3.0 is, know what a 7.0 is, and know what the differences are. And if you want to take it a step further, you can get yourself an Overstreet price guide. There's a nice guide in there that goes through every single point.
Yeah, the numbers, the 3.5s, the 4.0s, but you also want to know what is very fine, what is near mint, what is gem mint. So make sure you're aware.
Oh, and let's look at the next one on this list. The next thing I think these novice collectors possibly making mistakes on is not doing these things that we all do, which is buying, selling, and trading. This hobby isn't just about hoarding. It's about doing it right. And there's something that you say on your channel because you do a lot of statue unboxings, and I am assuming that these statues are quite expensive. How is it that you managed to do this on your channel at Gem Mint Collectibles?
That's true, Tom. Like, statue collecting can be very expensive. Pieces range anywhere from $500 to $3,000. And believe me, when I first got into the hobby, I was like, how does anybody afford this? So I have a saying on my channel is that the hobby should fund itself. If you're into the game of collecting comics, it's not hoarding comics. You're going to want to buy, sell, trade, make connections. And you have end goals. Let's say your goal is a Hulk 181, like Tom, that was his first Grail goal. But you don't want to just save up money and buy it. You should be flipping up, buying little books here and there, trading along, and constantly moving up. Even when you get the Hulk 181, you're probably going to start at a low grade, and eventually you flip up to that desired grade, maybe a 7.0 or a 9.0 or something like that. The hobby should fund itself, so get comfortable with letting some things go.
I don't know. I hear this a lot in the community with new collectors, which is, just pick your favorite character and buy what you like.
Buy what you love, right?
Yeah, I don't know if that's a great thing to suggest to new collectors because a lot of new collectors are into it at the time that their favorite character is at an all-time high. Maybe not buy what you like. Maybe buy what makes the most sense at the time.
It's so funny that you said that when we were coming up with this list because I never agreed with that statement. You don't agree with it. I was like, do you think the guru only buys what he likes? Like, that's not necessarily true. The reason that phrase came about is kind of like if you're buying something and you get stuck with it, at least make it something that you like. So I could understand that in a sense, but you're also going to want to make good buys so that you can trade. There's things called trade bait. So I think you definitely want to buy what you like, but don't just keep it confined to only what you like, and make sure that you're making good buys.
Good buys typically happen because of timing, wouldn't you say? And I think buying, selling, and trading, it's all about timing. It's all about when to buy something and knowing when you should move it. And then at that time, you can then make those decisions on when to move up or get something that you actually want.
Timing is a huge thing. There's so many misconceptions with timing. I hear it all the time. Oh, the Deadpool trailer came out. You better buy that New Mutants 98 now before it goes up in price. Wrong. It's already up in price. If the trailer is out, it's at its peak. With movie hyped keys, you needed to have that book way before the movie was even rumored. If you miss that boat, that book will cool down once the movie is out, released, and nobody cares about it anymore. Then that New Mutants 98 is going to drop right back down, and that's when you want to buy it. You want to buy those type of spec books like the Moon Knight, the Werewolf by Night 32. You needed to buy those when there were rumors in the mill about a show or a movie, and then bam. And what was it? New York Comic Con. I was there with Comic Tom. The announcement was made that he's getting an MCU Disney Plus show, and boom, the Werewolf by Night 32s on every rack at that con doubled in price. But if you love Moon Knight and you want to get his first appearance, all hope is not lost. Wait until after the show comes out. Wait till the season is over, and you're going to start to see a cool down. You're going to have a little patience. That's a big part of timing.
Oh, absolutely. I feel like each one of these different tips could have its own video series. Let us know in the comment section below if there's any tips that you suggest, Comic Fam, or maybe something that you would like to see us chat about in the future. I'm sure Jem would like to hear about it as well.
For sure.
All right, let's look at the third thing, because if we're encouraging people in this community to make sure that they are buying, selling, and trading, being part of the community, well, we got to just put emphasis on shipping. I think shipping right out the gate for someone who's starting to put real money into expensive paper, they got to know how to do it, and they also need to know when to spot bad shipping so they can protect themselves.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I hate hearing this excuse. Oh, USPS did it again. No, you got to make that package impossible for USPS to damage. If you're dealing with raw books, don't put it in something that could be easily bent. If you're dealing with slabs, don't put it in something like an envelope, which I have received from eBay before, that can easily crack plastic. Slabs need to go in a hard cardboard box with good packing material so it cannot move around inside the box. You're dealing with raw issues, it needs to be hard, sturdy comic book shippers, similar to Comic Tom's mystery mail call box. That thing is a hard gladiator type format, which will not be bent by your postal worker.
I appreciate the plug there, my man. I appreciate that a lot.
I just got my first one in today.
All right, what'd you think? What'd you think?
I loved it. I loved the graphics on it. I loved the Comic Tom exclusive. I don't know, can you guys see it in the background there?
I can see it here, man. It's looking good, the infinitely variant.
Let me take the time to say congratulations. First of all, it's a killer book. Donny Cates killed that issue of Thor. I cannot wait for issue 2. So to get a variant on that hot book, that's awesome, man. Congrats.
Hey, I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And while we're on that same note, we're talking about knowing how to spot good shipping, how to do your own shipping. This all takes research, right? You can find other videos on YouTube. We may make them in the future. Again, let us know what you think about this series, and we can come back on the mic and fill you in on some of the stuff. But it takes research. You just got to spend the time looking, and that's mistake number 4, I think a lot of new collectors make, is jumping in a little too quick. People immediately want to go after their grail, and they get hyper-focused. Research makes you be a little patient, and it also may sway your decision on where you want to put your money.
Yeah, that's true. Like I was telling Tom, before I started buying and selling comics, I lurked the CGC forums for like 2 or 3 years without making comments, going through the can you spare a grade section to see how people are grading, going through the Bronze Age and the Modern Age sales posts to see what's selling, how does it go down? And then videos like our videos that we do on each one of our channels, those are good resources so that you understand what you're getting into before you start blowing money.
That's right. I would encourage, yes, CGC forums. You can go through and kind of just look at different blogs that have been posted. There's a wealth of knowledge that's been building there well before most of this social media that we all rely on to learn about comic books.
The boards are old school for sure.
And I would also encourage the community to visit their local comic shop. You can learn a lot by actually being part of this community. You can spend time on social media, do a hashtag search, IG Comic Family on Instagram, and meet people, follow different pages. There's a wealth of information out there.
Let me tell you something. Instagram is where I got started as far as buying and selling as well. I learned from the boards. I executed on Instagram because I found the community early on, like in 2014. And a lot of people ask me, where do you buy and sell comics? And it's hard because I say Instagram, but because I've built a network of people that I know who buy, who sell, who trade, who are trustworthy. So really, if you want to know where to buy or sell or trade comics, you got to be part of the community. You have to interact with people, comment on people's posts, talk to each other, and learn and make deals at the same time.
Yeah, and after you study that and you find out which of these platforms you favor the most, you may find yourself wanting to sell on Instagram or Facebook or eBay or not at all. You won't know until you spend time on these different platforms. And I wanted to share one quick story here because this was one of my first bigger purchases. And then out of ignorance, I wasted money. I bought a Walking Dead #1. It was one of the very first bigger purchases that I made in the early 2000s, coming back on the scene collecting comics. And I bought a raw book that had a Robert Kirkman signature on it. And I took that comic to an LCS and I went ahead and graded it, not understanding the ramifications on that. Getting that green label was my first slab that I kind of did on my own. Because although I read comics and I collected comics in my youth, I didn't get serious about collecting expensive books such as that key. So research goes a long way. I made that mistake.
Yeah, I think actually a lot of new collectors that get into this hobby, the first thing they want to do is submit their books that they've had for years to CGC. And a lot of times they have these signature books, not realizing that if CGC didn't witness that, it's not going to come back as a verified signature, and it's going to greatly devalue the book. So I don't think you're alone in that, Tom. I think a lot of new collectors jump in with that mentality. So that's why you got to do your research and know what the Signature Series program is like and what it entails.
And when you're trying to decide now where to prioritize your funds and what you're going to buy, there's a lot of things that could get in the way and that could also prevent you from making good decisions. There's a lot of places that you can get scammed in this community.
And it's funny, we say to buy and sell and trade on Instagram or Facebook, but you have to be savvy. When we say buyer beware, that means you don't just send a friends and family payment to somebody you don't know, no reputation, on Instagram or Facebook, because there are some bad people out there that will take your money and scam you. So you have to be savvy. Know that you should use PayPal goods and services with any transaction, unless if I was buying from Tom, I would send friends and family. Like if you know the person or you're comfortable, but definitely be careful. I would be careful of Instagram pages that look very new, very scarce. Maybe they don't have any pictures of the person, or Facebook profiles that are similar, no pictures or stuff like that. To me, those are all red flags. That's why every time I sell, if I was selling this box set, I'll be on Instagram like this. You know what I mean? Because I want you to know that it's a real person that you're buying this item from.
Ask for referrals. Never be shy, especially if there's a key book in front of you that the price is too good to be true. Typically, that's the way that people make mistakes. They want to get a really good deal, and then they don't do their due diligence, and then that's when they get screwed out of money. And we want to protect the community's money. Comic books are expensive, but the more that people get burned in any of these areas, well, it pulls people out of the community.
My good friend Dennis for Comics, he always says that he hates scammers. He says because it could be somebody who's just getting new into this hobby, and if they get scammed, they might not want to participate in this hobby anymore, and that's one less person to keep this thing going.
Ask questions. Look at more than one picture if you're looking to buy a book.
And the golden rule, I think, with comic collecting, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. If you see that Craigslist ad that has all these grails and they want $5,000, I would probably not even make that call, because that sounds like a huge red flag to me. And you have to be kind of savvy. I mean, it takes a little bit of a hustler spirit, but be informed, do your research, and make sure that you're looking out for those red flags.
Keep practicing these things. Practice your curating. Start getting into the buy, selling, and trading aspect of this hobby. It's a lot of fun. It makes collecting easier and manageable. Start perfecting your shipping techniques, Start researching and doing your community work, and just be savvy about the kind of books that you're buying. We have 2 different giveaways we're going to do today. One is an Infinity Wars #3, as well as a Spirit of Vengeance #1. Now, these are cool books, great covers, but we're not sending them out because of that information. We're sending these out because one's a 9.8 and one's a 9.6. What can they do with these?
Try to see if you can find something. Sometimes it could be something on the interior, and maybe that's why you hit a 9.6. But really, it's just to be fun with the show. So if you want to be entered into the giveaway to win these slabs, all you need to do is be subscribed to Comic Tom's channel, be subscribed to my channel, Gem Mint Collectibles, and comment down below #ComicTom giveaway. We're going to tally up all the names. We'll do a random drawing and we'll announce the winner on our next show, because this is a series that we want to continue to do.
Absolutely. If you found any value to this video, hit that like button. And Comic Fan, as always,
Geek responsibly and stay minty fresh. Peace.
Enough said.